Dear friends, I don't know how old you are, but if you're like me, already past 70, then maybe your legs just aren't what they used to be. Sometimes even a short staircase can leave you gasping for breath. Sometimes simply squatting to tie your shoes makes your knees crack and pop. And sometimes just standing up after a meal feels like your whole body is heavy, unsteady, and no longer sure of itself. I used to think that was just normal aging. But then one day, I saw my closest friend, Mr. Henry, 94 years old, riding his bicycle on his own to buy morning bread. No cane, no walker, no trembling hands, no weak knees. I asked him, "How are your legs still this strong at 93?" He just smiled and said, "Every day I take just one spoonful, but it's the right kind, exactly what my body needs." That single line led me down a path of discovery into 6 essential vitamins, nutrients that may seem simple, yet could hold the key to keeping your legs steady, free from trembling or aching, even when you're well past 90. You see, people often worry about their hearts, their brains, their lungs, but forget something basic. Every single day, we still need to walk. We still need to stand up, if only to make a cup of tea or step into the garden to greet the morning flowers. And when your legs are no longer strong, the world around you suddenly feels farther away than you ever imagined. So today I want to share this with you, not as a doctor, not as an expert, but from lived experience, from 76 years of life, from painful falls that shook me to the core, from moments of lost balance that nearly stole my ability to walk forever. If you want to protect your legs so you can keep walking proudly beside your grandchildren, still tend your garden with your own hands, still go to the market, or simply live independently to the very end, then this video is for you. And I hope that by the end of this video, you'll realize one small spoonful, if it's the right one, can save your legs from an old age spent in a wheelchair. I still remember it so clearly. It was a Tuesday morning. I was watering the plants out on the porch when I heard Mrs. Walter, our neighbor next door, scream in panic. I rushed over. There he was, lying on the kitchen floor, motionless, his left leg bent at a strange, unnatural angle. His eyes were still open, but they no longer saw anything. They said he had broken his hip, then suffered a mild stroke from the fall. Just 2 weeks later, he passed away. Death didn't come from a serious illness. It came from a simple slip, a wrong step in the very kitchen he had walked through for years. And what haunts me the most is this. Just a week before, he had excitedly told me, "I just ordered a new set of gardening tools. This year, I want to grow my own tomatoes." Such a small dream left unfulfilled. Later on, when I spoke with his granddaughter, who's a doctor, I asked her, how could he fall so badly like that? She answered gently, maybe it was a vitamin D deficiency. At his age, he didn't get much sun, and he didn't take any supplements. I was stunned. Just vitamin D? It turns out vitamin D doesn't just keep your bones strong, it also directly impacts muscle strength, balance, and even your reflexes when you're about to fall. A study from Harvard revealed seniors over 70 who are deficient in vitamin D have a 70% higher risk of falling and take twice as long to recover from injury. And you know, when young people fall, they get back up. But for the elderly, a fall could mean a one-way trip to a hospital bed, or worse, the final trip. I look back at myself. That whole week, I had barely been out in the sun. My meals were simple, no fatty fish, and I avoided milk because of concerns about osteoporosis. I never even thought about taking vitamin D because I kept telling myself weakness is just part of getting old. But after what happened to Mr. Walter, I changed. I started supplementing with 800 to 1000 IU of vitamin D3 daily, the form most easily absorbed by seniors. It wasn't medication, just a tiny pill the size of a grain of rice taken after breakfast. And after just 3 weeks, I could feel the difference. My legs weren't as sore when standing for long periods. Climbing steps no longer made me feel shaky, and more than anything, I began to feel more confident when I walked, something that gradually fades with age without us even noticing. If you're over 65, live in a cold area, don't get much sun, or suffer from frequent joint pain, your body might be crying out for vitamin D and you just haven't realized it. One tiny pill, one small spoonful a day. Sometimes that's the only thing standing between you and a wheelchair. One night I was sleeping soundly when I suddenly jolted awake like I'd been electrocuted. My right calf had seized up, rock solid, painfully tight. I nearly screamed. I rubbed it, clenched my teeth, even woke up my wife to help. It took nearly 10 minutes before the cramp finally let go, and that wasn't the first time. That month I had cramps nearly every night, sometimes in my calves, sometimes in my toes, and every time I felt like I had aged a few more years overnight. The next day I saw a doctor. He asked me, "Are you taking any magnesium supplements?" I shook my head. "Never." He nodded. "That might be the cause." Turns out magnesium is an essential mineral that helps muscles relax after they contract. Without enough magnesium, nerve signals to the muscles become erratic, leading to sudden, involuntary cramps, especially that night when blood circulation slows down. Not only that, magnesium helps regulate heart rhythm, improves calcium absorption, and enhances deep sleep quality, something we elderly folk desperately need. A study from Mayo Clinic showed seniors over 65 with magnesium deficiency frequently suffer from insomnia, tingling in limbs, muscle pain, and have double the risk of developing osteoporosis. I was shocked. I used to think only calcium mattered for strong bones. But it turns out magnesium is the silent culprit behind my nightly cramps. So I started taking magnesium citrate, the most easily absorbed form, at a light dose of about 250 milliliters per day after dinner. And just after 10 days, I slept through the night without a single painful cramp. Strangely enough, my legs felt lighter in the morning, like they weren't dragging me down anymore. I could still walk, but now I no longer feared that one wrong step would make my muscles betray me. If you've ever experienced nighttime leg cramps, tingling or numbness in your limbs, heavy, restless legs, poor sleep, or waking up exhausted, well, then magnesium might just be the missing piece your body has been silently begging for. It's not flashy, it's no miracle supplement, but sometimes it's the quiet things that keep you standing longer than everything else. One morning, I stepped outside to pick some vegetables, just a few steps down from the porch, but something felt off. My legs felt wobbly, like I was walking on a slippery floor. I slowed down, but my feet didn't listen. It felt like I was walking on cotton, unsteady, unreal. And worse, when I tried to use scissors to cut the greens, my hands trembled uncontrollably. My wife said, "Maybe it's the weather?" I nodded, but inside I was worried because this wasn't the first time. I had nearly fallen before, once when leaving the supermarket. Even gripping the shopping cart, I felt like I was tipping sideways, as if my legs and my brain had stopped communicating. When I saw the doctor, he did a few simple tests, checking my reflexes, toe sensitivity, and balance with my eyes closed. The result? Vitamin B12 deficiency. I was surprised. I ate normally. But the doctor explained, After 60, our ability to absorb B12 from food drops significantly, especially if you have digestive issues, have taken antacid medications, or eat little meat. Vitamin B12 acts like insulation for your nerves. Without it, your peripheral nerves, especially in your hands and feet, slowly lose their ability to transmit signals. The consequences? Numbness in your feet, more likely to trip, poor spatial awareness, trembling, unsteady walking, persistent leg fatigue. Walking a few steps makes you want to sit. Vitamin B12 levels checked. Don't let this silent deficiency rob you of your ability to walk. One small pill, one big difference. Back when I was 68, I used to believe, just take calcium to keep your bones strong, and I took it regularly for nearly 2 years. But strangely, my knees didn't get any better. In fact, they hurt more and more. Stairs made me ache. Squatting made me numb. Some days I even heard cracking sounds when I stretched out my legs. I went back to the doctor. This time he gently said, "You're taking calcium without vitamin K2. That calcium may be going to the wrong places." I was stunned. Calcium needs directions? Turns out after 60, if you take calcium without vitamin K2, some of it may not go to your bones, but instead build up in your blood vessels, joints, or soft tissues. In simple terms, you're cementing the wrong parts of your body. Over time, this leads to misdirected calcification in your knees, hips, even shoulders, causing stiffness, chronic pain, and limited mobility. A study in the Netherlands followed 4,800 seniors for 10 years and found people with low vitamin K2 levels were twice as likely to develop arterial calcification, joint degeneration, and chronic knee pain compared to those with proper supplementation. So I did my research, and I discovered that vitamin K2 acts as a traffic director, guiding calcium into the bones and keeping it out of arteries and joints. I switched to a supplement with calcium plus D3 plus K2, MK7 form, the most absorbable and stable combination. After just 4 weeks, the pain in my knees began to ease. I could stand up from the sofa without needing a push. I could walk around the park for 30 minutes without needing to rest midway. No miracle, just calcium finally going where my bones actually needed it. Dear friend, if you are taking calcium, have knee, back, or hip pain, hear cracking sounds when moving, have been diagnosed with joint calcification, you might be missing vitamin K2, the quiet but crucial missing link in senior joint health. The right supplement at the right dose could mean no walking stick for many more years. And who knows, you just might walk like Mr. Henry, who at 94 still hops on his old bicycle and pedals to the bakery every morning, like someone living their 60s. There was a time when I noticed bruises forming easily on my legs, just a light bump on a table, or brushing against the arm of a chair, and by the next day a dark purple bruise would appear, like someone had struck me. One day I noticed a small wound near my ankle, but it just wouldn't heal. Even though I was eating well, sleeping enough, and didn't have diabetes, I started to worry. When a small wound won't heal, that's no longer just old age. When I went to the doctor, he said, "Your blood vessels might be weak. Are you getting enough vitamin C?" I was surprised. "Vitamin C? I'm not even sick." He smiled. "Vitamin C isn't just for colds. It's a vital building block for keeping your blood vessels and connective tissues from breaking down." I started researching, and I was shocked. Vitamin C boosts collagen production, which supports tendons, muscles, ligaments, and even blood vessel walls. After 60, our natural collagen drops sharply. Without enough vitamin C, the small blood vessels in your legs weaken, leading to bruising, soreness, numbness, and worse, wounds that heal slowly or develop persistent infections. Not to mention, vitamin C also helps the body absorb iron, critical for delivering oxygen to your limbs, so your muscles don't feel like bags of sand every time you walk. I began taking 500 milligrams of natural vitamin C daily from acerola or citrus, divided into morning and afternoon doses. I also added more fresh produce, guava, oranges, broccoli, red bell peppers. After 2 weeks, the bruises started fading. After a month, small scratches healed more quickly. And more than anything, my legs just felt stronger when I stood for long periods. You might be bruising easily, even with minor bumps, struggling with slow-healing wounds or fragile skin, feeling heavy or numb legs after standing a while, and thinking it's just age. But sometimes that's your capillary system crying for help because there isn't enough vitamin C to protect the legs that carry you. One orange a day might not be enough, but one well-timed tablet at the right dose might just be the shield your fragile legs need. Vitamin E, I used to think it was just something you apply to your skin to prevent wrinkles. But then I discovered it's also a silent warrior inside your body, especially for your legs. At 70, I began to feel strange twinges in my calves by late afternoon. Sometimes tingling, sometimes a sensation like ants crawling. At first, I thought I'd just been sitting too long. Poor circulation, maybe. But even when I stood or walked, the feeling lingered. A friend of mine, Richard, 4 years older, told me, "You should check your vitamin E. I used to have the same thing. Turned out I was missing antioxidants." I didn't get it. "What does vitamin E have to do with legs?" He explained, "It protects nerve cells and blood vessels. Without it, your limbs slowly lose sensation without warning." I started digging in. After 70, our bodies produce fewer protective enzymes. Free radicals rise. These are harmful molecules that damage tissues, especially the tiny blood vessels that feed your hands and feet. Vitamin E acts as a natural antioxidant shield, defending vessel walls, nourishing muscle cells, and supporting peripheral nerves in your hands and feet. Without vitamin E, you risk muscle weakness, trembling in hands and feet, numb fingertips and toes, unsteady walking, higher fall risk. I started taking a light dose, 200 IU per day, in natural form, D-alpha tocopherol. I also added nuts to my meals, almonds, sunflower seeds, avocado. After 3 weeks, I saw a clear difference. My hands didn't tremble when holding a soup spoon in the morning. My legs no longer tingled in the afternoon. I could stand and cook dinner for my wife without needing to sit halfway through because of numbness. I realized not everything aging brings is irreversible. Some things, if you learn in time, you can still take back. And for me, vitamin E was one of those things. Dear friends, we've now walked through 6 vitamins. They may sound simple, but each one taught me a priceless lesson. You don't need high doses. You don't need to be like anyone else. But if you're over 65 or if you've begun to feel like your legs aren't as steady as they used to be, perhaps your body is silently calling for help. Don't wait until you can't stand up anymore to start paying attention. Today, just one small pill or one small spoonful could be the difference between moving freely and living in a wheelchair. I don't expect you to remember everything you have just read. I only hope tonight you look down at your legs and place your hand on them in gratitude, because those legs have carried you through so many years. They've climbed hills, ridden bikes, danced, stood tall through life's storms. And now they just need a little more care so they can keep walking beside you all the way to the end. If you found this video helpful, leave a comment. I always read every word because your words help me continue sharing real stories, honest and kind. Thank you for staying until the very end. May you always walk strong, and I hope to see you again in another video just as warm and familiar as today.